with that, we're going to resume the clock momentarily. And CGLS, you can resume the clock on your mark.
GLS copies. 3, 2, 1, mark. GLS mainline has been initiated.
T-minus 10 minutes and counting.
And that begins terminal count. Our new T0 is 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We are now counting down to liftoff of Artemis 2. From now on, you're going to hear two voices on the loops. If everything goes nominally, NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding, who's directly managing the launch team, and Alex Bendelos, the GLS operator who closely monitors the software. He has the ability to stop and restart the countdown. A lot of people ask about whether there's a launch button. There certainly is not.
Flight and rock. Our new T0 is 22, 35, 12.
Houston flight copies. 22, 35, 12.
Affirm.
There you heard confirmation of the exact T0, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Again, our T0 is 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. But as I was saying, there's no launch button. This is autonomous. But there is a button that keeps you from launching, and that button allows the GLS operator to pause the countdown outside of terminal count and during terminal count and submit a hold to the next holding point. So the clock won't stop right away. If there's an issue, we'll go to the next stable holding point. This is how GLS configures the rocket and ground systems to a stable point where they can stop the countdown if that's needed. But right now, we are counting down. Our next big milestone, looking to retract the crew access arm.
GLS is go for crew access arm retract.
And there you see the crew access arm moving away. That's the path that the astronauts took to ingress into the rocket. Until this point, that was their way off the pad if they needed to evacuate. But now with that arm retracting, the backup transitions to a launch abort system. And they'll begin arming that shortly. Of course, the launch abort system, great shot there of the crew access arm retracting away. The launch abort system is the tower at the top, and that's what would pull Orion and its crew off the top of the rocket in case of an emergency, whether it's on the ground or in flight. This is critical safety hardware that protects the lives of the astronauts. Starting at T-minus 6 minutes, the GLS will start bringing that and other high-energy systems online, starting with core stage pressurization. Weather is 90% go, the range is go, all systems are go.
GLS is go for core stage tank pressurization.
That means the replenish valve for the liquid hydrogen tank has now closed, and that tank is beginning to pressurize to flight levels because that hydrogen is naturally boiling inside the tank. We'll get the liquid oxygen tank a little later in the count. Now the team is waiting for verification that, if needed, the Artemis 2 crew could use the launch abort system to pull Orion safely off the top of the rocket in an emergency. Let's listen in for that call.
GLS verifies last capability available.
And CDR, do you copy?
CDR copies, last available.
That's great news, and you heard the NTD verify that with the commander of the mission.
GLS is go for FTS arm.
Now work is being done to arm the flight termination system. This is so the range safety can send a flight termination command if the rocket flies too far off track. There's a brief built-in delay so the launch abort system has time to pull the astronauts to
GLS is
safety
go for
first.
LH2 high flow bleed check.
All right, the high flow bleed check. That's so the cryo team gets verification that the RS-25 engines, all 4 of them, are in the proper temperature range for launch.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want it. I like to add the action items field so AI can show me the next steps. I add my teammates as watchers so they're in the loop. ClickUp makes work easy, from personal projects to running a multi-billion-dollar company. Click the link below to create your workspace for free.
Coming up in about 20 seconds, we're listening for go for purge sequence 4. That's a helium purge of the 4 core stage engines downstream of the propellant valve. This gets all the air and moisture out of there.
GLS is go for purge sequence 4.
Moving through the milestones. All is looking good. Coming up in just a few seconds, we're going to get that thrust vector control actuator test. This is a gimbaling of the engines. There are the 4 RS-25s, 3 of them shuttle heritage, 1 of them built from shuttle parts. And there you see them moving. Now we're going to start moving the power from both the upper stage and the lower stage of the rocket to internal, taking ground power away and now going to battery power.
GLS is go for upper stage power.
All right, power is removed from the rocket's upper stage, the ICPS, and it's been switched to battery. Same milestone for the lower core stage coming up at T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds. Right now, the 4-person Artemis II crew is 248,000 miles away from the moon. And if all goes well, they will fly by it in 6 days.
GLS is go for core stage to internal power.
All right, there's the rocket's core stage, which houses 3 flight computers, is now on its own power. There's no more hold time because there's no more margin on these batteries. So we'd have to recycle back to T-minus 10 to recharge if we had a hold.
One minute.
Right now, the rocket does not know what the T0 is, but coming up at T-minus 33 seconds, control shifts from the ground launch sequencer to the rocket's onboard autonomous launch sequencer, or ALS. The rocket will count itself down, but honor any holds that could come from the ground. Now, shortly after liftoff, Houston will take control of the rocket, and my colleague Gary Jordan will take over commentary.
GLS is go for ALS.
Great call out. The rocket is on its own. 4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched. Sound suppression water is flowing.
15,
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of Integrity on the Artemis II mission around the moon.
Integrity, AMT high.
AMT high.
On time passing 30 seconds until the lights. Integrity passes the alternate MECO. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston seeing good performance of the main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour. Last time, passing 1 minute, approaching max gear.
On, possibly on.
Stan, we have you loud and clear on possibly on.
Have you the same?
Communication signal transport confirmed as Integrity and its crew go supersonic. Approaching 90 seconds into the Artemis II mission. Integrity is 14 miles in altitude, 8 miles downrange, traveling more than 2,600 miles per hour. Seconds of mission elapsed time, standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation expected at the 2-minute 9-second mark. We see throttle down. Confirmed separation. Main engines throttling up, guidance converged.
Integrity, guidance converged, performance nominal, upper stage RCS ready.
Copy all, Stan.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
SM priming complete.
2 minutes 45 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. Thrusters on Integrity and upper stage confirmed in a ready state ahead of service module fairing separation. 3 minutes into the flight, Integrity 49 miles in altitude, 78 miles downrange, now passing 5,000 miles per hour. Standing by for launch board system jettison.
Houston Integrity, good last jettison, great view.
Copy, jettison, TVCO 8+02.
We see you sail on board, Stan.
And Houston has you loud and clear on Tigris at the common line.
Outstanding, Stan, we have you the same.
3 minutes 50 seconds into the flight of Artemis II, Wiseman, Glover, Cook, and Hansen cross the boundary to space with good comm checks. GPS signals acquired after last jettison now working on internal checks to verify accuracy. Flight Dynamics Officer analyzed the time of main engine cutoff, confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds, time of MECO.
Integrity, GPS processing.
Stan, we see the same, and we have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it.
Approaching 5 minutes into the flight, Commander Reed Wiseman confirms he has visuals of his destination. GPS guidance, navigation, and control software finishes internal checks and sends to navigation channels.
Integrity, 3 engine press.
3 engine press.
On time, now passing 5 minutes 20 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. At this point, 3 good main engines are all that's needed to carry Integrity to a nominal main engine cutoff target. Though at this time, we're seeing 4 good engines here in Mission Control Houston. Integrity, 75 miles in altitude, 330 miles downrange, approaching 10,000 miles per hour.
Integrity, looking good at 6 minutes.
Same on board, Stan.
Good trajectory and engine performance. Booster officer will soon report the shutdown plan to Flight Director Judd Freeling, expected at the 7-minute mark. Integrity, 78 miles in altitude, 460 miles downrange.
Integrity, expect nominal shutdown.
Integrity copies, nominal shutdown.
Six minutes 40 seconds of mission elapsed time. Shutdown plan is as expected. Again, the time of MECO was confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds into the flight. Seven minutes of mission elapsed time. Throttling down as we approach the abort once around option. Milestone at the 7-minute 30-second mark. Now 84 miles in altitude, 650 miles downrange, traveling more than 15,000 miles per hour.
Integrity, AOA open.
Haley open.
The window is now open for an abort once around option that would target splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Still following nominal ascent at this time. About 10 seconds remaining until the main engine cutoff of the Space Launch System core stage. Standing by for confirmation of MECO and core stage separation.
Integrity, nominal MECO, core stage separated.
We see the same on board, Stan.
Eight minutes 40 seconds into the flight, we have a nominal main engine cutoff heading in the right trajectory on the way to swing around the moon. Core stage has separated, done its job. The Space Launch System upper stage, the Inner Rim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, or ICPS, still attached to the Orion spacecraft. Nine minutes of mission elapsed time. Integrity crew of Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen now in orbit around the Earth at the beginning of their journey to the moon.
Integrity Houston, looking ahead to PRM, numbers so far per the pad.
Copy that, Stan. Numbers for the pad.
Capcom Stan Loves now reminding the crew that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition is as expected prior to Booster ignition. That time being 49 minutes, 50 seconds of mission elapsed time.
Integrity, good. Neds deploy.
Copy that, stand good, Neds.
And Terry Houston for PWD SEP, just a reminder, halfway open on the secondary.
We got that set kind of halfway open.
Passing 11 minutes of mission elapsed time. Overhearing the conversation between Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed Wiseman, already passing some milestones. We have a good nozzle extension deployment system. That is confirmed. Complete. We also have the visors are confirmed up. Now past the dynamic phase of flight, that is ascent. Their launch and entry suits that provided them an extra layer of protection. Now not as needed. They're going to raise those visors. And later in today's mission, they will begin to egress or get out of the suits to begin some of their initial tasks of activating some of the systems aboard in the Integrity spacecraft. It's passing 12 minutes of mission elapsed time. Again, the perigee raise maneuver that's targeted near 50 minutes of mission elapsed time, 49 minutes, 50 seconds. That's what the crew is going to be working towards. The Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover will focus on preparing for that milestone. In the meantime, mission specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen will start some of the activation of environmental control life support systems. You may hear confirmation of their activation over the Orion to Earth communication network.
Houston, C3 aux power back in auto.
Copy C3 aux, and we're 2 minutes to maneuver.
"13 minutes and 30 seconds of mission elapsed time. We're going to continue to follow the crew of the Artemis 2 mission. They are beginning their journey around the moon to verify the systems that will take us to its surface. An incredible ascent. Artemis 2 is underway. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey to the moon.
Mientras algunas personas madrugan para llegar a su trabajo tradicional en la oficina, otras toman su café y se preparan para ganar en dólares desde su computador. ¿Cómo lo consiguen? Encontrando la forma de colaborar desde remoto con empresas de países como Estados Unidos o Europa y aprovechando sus habilidades. En mi entrenamiento gratuito La Semana del Trabajo Virtual te muestro 3 plataformas donde se encuentran oportunidades para trabajar con empresas de otros países, incluso si solo hablas español. Cómo identificar trabajos que se ajusten a aquello que ya sabes hacer. Un sistema práctico para aplicar y aumentar tus posibilidades de conseguir contratos. No necesitas de experiencia previa ni inglés avanzado. Solo interés en explorar nuevas posibilidades y organizar tu tiempo de manera distinta. Si quieres conocer este enfoque, haz clic en el botón y reserva tu lugar gratis.
Yeah. How does that make you feel as someone who, is an astronaut as well, but also, as you said, friends?
Yeah, so proud of them. Man, we don't have the words in the English language to describe this kind of an event, and pride, love, so many emotions. They are truly breaking some barriers, and hopefully, as Gary just said, they've got a long day ahead of them, so wishing them well on everything, but so far, what a beautiful launch to watch.
Yeah, to be returning to the lunar orbit in more than 50 years. Maybe they go farther from Earth than any other humans before them. Maybe they see parts of the moon that we've never seen before. I mean, what a great start to what could be all of these milestones that we break in just a 10-day mission.
Yes, what a way to welcome in the Artemis generation.
Yeah, how do you feel? I mean, we saw some beautiful shots we were covering of course, the rocket, of course, the Earth falling away as we continued up into our ascent, but also some of those crowd shots where we saw young and old, just emotional, overcome by this history-making moment.
Man, we are going back to the moon for all, and we saw that today. We saw that in all the crowds. And yeah, you guys just saw that view, the sunrise or sunset, I guess. They just made it over the crest of the Earth, and you could see the sun peeking over. One of my favorite views from space. And I can't imagine what they're looking at now, and I can't wait to see what they're looking at in about 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are like, I'm surprised this launched on the first try, because we know, like any little thing, we have to be keeping safety in mind, and we want to make sure we're ready to go, but we were ready to go, and I think it surprised a lot of people. What a wonderful surprise on this Wednesday evening.
It did, and it kind of surprised me as well, but it's just a testament to the team here that has been working so hard on Artemis. Artemis 1, we learned a ton of lessons. We learned a ton from the wet dress for Artemis 2. We were able to go in, fix those things. We even had a couple mishaps today, not mishaps, but a couple, anomalies today that the team creatively came up with solutions for. It's just a testament to the teamwork that gets us to the moon.
And so we can continue to watch Christina, Reed, Victor, and Jeremy on their way now to the moon in Earth's orbit and awaiting the next in-flight milestones, deploying Orion's solar arrays. So why don't we get back in with Mission Control and Gary.
Hey, thank you, Megan. Again, we're following along in the action. It is a long day. They have a number of procedures they need to get to immediately in their timeline.
And Integrity Houston, Crossflight is on board per the FTDM.
We copy Houston, thank you.
Cross-eye referring to flight controllers here initiating a connection between some of the batteries aboard the Orion spacecraft, allowing for an even distribution of power. This is the flight control teams that took us through ascent of the Artemis 2 mission today. Right now we're, as you see, passing 18 minutes of mission elapsed time. The Orion spacecraft integrity and the interim cryogenic propulsion system are maneuvering tail to sun. It is in this orientation, this attitude.
Integrity, any words on that momentary prop caution?
And Reed, no action, we're looking at it.
Commander Reed Wiseman verifying what is being routed to his displays aboard Integrity. Propulsion engineer confirming that no action is needed at this time. They're pressing through with their nominal procedures to prepare for the perigee raise maneuver, and of course the solar array wing deploy ahead of that. The solar wing deploy is a critical milestone. We'll continue to have our coverage follow the mission until that deployment. Successful launch is just the beginning. The deployment of the solar arrays and successful confirmation that those solar array wings are drawing power is a significant milestone, and it says to the flight control teams that we will continue on today's mission. Power needs to be drawn to continue through some of the next milestones. Until then, the AOA open option that was called up upon ascent, the aboard once around, is the current option, and abort to orbit option ATO will be switched to a preferred mode at the time that the solar array wings are deployed and latched. It gives the flight control teams a little bit more flexibility.
Integrity Houston, update on Tedra's handover for your pad.
Give us just 1 minute. And Stan, you can read it. Ike is ready to copy.
Roger. Tedra's handover east to west expected 1 second earlier at 5:1 minutes 26 seconds.
Hi, Stan, we copy 1 second earlier for 5126 Tedra's east to west, and saws are starting to deploy. Thermal knives are firing.
We concur. Thanks for the report.
Read back of the reports that you just heard on the Orion to Earth network. Integrity has maneuvered tail to sun. The RL-10 nozzle on the end of the ICPS is pointed towards the sun, and the solar array deployment sequence has begun. With the deployment confirmed, it'll be several minutes until they are what is called in a latched position. Once they are latched and confirmed to be drawing power, they can switch the mode to ATO and continue along the mission. The teacher's handover at the pad, that message meant the crew was provided some preliminary numbers of when to expect handovers between the tracking and data relay satellites. Currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of 545 statute miles above the Earth. They are in a near-Earth network communication system. The tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that are stationed about 23,000 miles above the Earth. After the apogee raise burn that occurs later today, the burn itself will put them at an altitude that surpasses the range of the tracking and data relay satellites, and they will transition to the deep space network today.
And I tell you, for prompt messages, we see 2 temperature measurements right near the line. It's a momentary message you saw earlier. We're going to suppress those. It's helium heater 2 T1 and heater 1 T1. They're going suppressed.
Integrity, thank you. We see the same.
This is Mission Control Houston, passing 23 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. This is after a launch that began at 5:35 and 12 seconds Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the orientation you're seeing from our arrow visualization that translates some of the telemetry that we're getting from the spacecraft and puts it into a model so you can follow along on some of the milestones that we are following here. The RL-10 nozzle that you see at the left end of your screen, though it is currently not firing.
Síguenos en nuestras redes sociales. Solo por tvGT. Carlos Córdoba explora el entorno económico de Guatemala con un enfoque en la libertad de mercado y las oportunidades bursátiles. Este programa ofrece una visión clara de cómo las empresas pueden prosperar con menos restricciones y mayor competitividad. Economía de mercado. Miércoles 6 de la tarde y los viernes a las 7 de la noche.